Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack it. Huh? Hey, guys, look at this. Hasbro are giving out gift packs to successful British YouTubers in order to promote Hasbro PulseCon 2021. They might send us one. Dave, Hasbro never reaches out to us. And besides, we don't care because it's stupid. Yeah, we don't care about that kind of stuff. I mean, look, am I curious as to why Hasbro never reaches out to us? Of course. But do I care? No, not in the slightest. Yeah, we don't care about it. I mean, it is a little odd that Hasbro have never reached out to us. Yeah, I mean, at some point it becomes a little bit aggressive. So what is it? We don't deserve it? Are we not cool enough? Whoa, hang on, Dave. If I do something, you better believe it's cool, alright? Yeah, if I'm gonna put my name on something, it's definitely gonna be prize-worthy. I can't imagine that other people are doing what I'm doing better. I mean, it's talking about toys online. It's just upsetting. I mean, sorry, alright, but I'm getting upset. Listen, okay, if you want to get a gift pack, you gotta play the game. I don't want to play the game to get a gift pack. That just feels lame. It is lame. Oh, is that your ass, sir? Closer to the hole? You know what's lame? Being around this long and never getting a gift set. Makes you look like a bunch of a-holes. You're really driving this home now, and now it's getting upsetting? Like, I'm getting the neck thing? I'm getting upset. They are making me feel like an a-hole. Yeah, I can feel it. Upset. It's just, oh, gosh. Yeah, okay, let's play the game. Okay, yeah, I mean, of course we can do that. I mean, it's not a problem. You know what? All right, I'll play the game. I'll kiss ass. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll play the game, all right? But I just want to be clear about something. This literally means nothing to me. Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk X-Men. Who are the 50 most essential X-Men for any collection? Well, we're going to find out right now. But before we do, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond, then maybe consider going over to patreon.com, throwing a few shekels my way. So now that I've got that out the way, I'm going to try plugging this thing more often because I keep forgetting to do it. Yet I also really need money. So I really need to get into the habit of doing that. So guys, this is the top 50 essential X-Men. Let's do it. Coming in at number 50, which now I kind of feel bad about because it does imply that he is the least essential, but he's a cool character. Maverick, yes, from Department H, from Weapon X, all that kind of Wolverine backstory, espionage, mutant spy type stuff. Maverick's super cool, but I don't know a huge amount about him. And you see this list, it is in ascending order from least important to most. And a lot of these, you might see them and go like, whoa, this guy, what are you talking about? This guy's like the most essential one, bibbidi bobbidi. Don't know why you sound like that, I don't think any of you do. But in my opinion, Maverick is really cool, but I've only seen him in a few appearances, and that is why on this list, he just makes number 50. Now, a recent Marvel villain we've just got is Arcade. And Arcade's kind of a funny one because he goes way back into the histories. Arcade has been around for a long time, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember a single really iconic X-Men Arcade story. I remember the Battle Royale type one. What was it? Avengers Arena? Was that the one? That was a good Arcade story, but one that ties him directly into the main kind of X-Men titles, it escapes me. I'm sure it's there, because also there's the classic Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge video game. So I feel like he is a big-time X-Men villain, and when I was trying to figure out where to put him, people told me, oh, he goes with the X-Men. So you know what? That's good enough for me. But also, since I can't remember a single occasion where he's really heavily featured, that's why he just gets 49. Now we got ourselves Shatterstar, the guy who is better than you at everything. I don't know if that's actually his kind of personality, but that's what we saw of him in Deadpool 2, and that's the most of what I've really seen of Shatterstar. I know that he's an essential component of the 90s X-Force team, and that's why I kind of want him. He stands out quite a lot from Mojo World, and he makes up that Cable Domino sort of team. I suppose I was running out of words to say there. So yeah, Shatterstar with his 2 swords and little David Bowie makeup, yeah, he easily makes the list. Sugar do 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 do. Ah, honey, honey, do 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 do. You are a 4-armed slobbering creature, and you look gross on my shelf. I probably really showed my age singing that song. All of you are watching going like, hell is this guy doing? In fairness, I only know that song from The Simpsons, so it's a little bit more modern. But Sugar Man is what I was getting at. And this is one where, okay, yes, he's from the Age of Apocalypse. And really, by virtue of being essential figures, I'm just including 616. But he came over to the 616. Therefore is essential in my eyes. And also, it's just an amazing bath. I mean, this dude, he's quite statuish because there's not much you can do with like a head that is on a body. It's very odd, but you can move all his arms around. He looks so, so cool. He's gross and ugly, and sometimes I kind of love gross and ugly. Normally in poor disco lighting after a few beers, but that's enough of my youth. Sauron, one of the figures that I just recently sold, actually. Yes, he's gone. He flew the coop, as birdie-type dinosaur creatures are inclined to do. And as we all know from Jurassic Park, modern-day birds used to be T-Rexes. That's pretty much how it works, I think. And Sauron is one of these standout builder figures. I mean, he did look super awesome. Why did I get rid of him? Because, well, so many reasons, actually. That damn tail, for a start. Just a solid chunk of plastic that ensures that he has to stick out from wherever I'm putting him. And then the huge big wings, I'm like, you're just too big. You're just a huge figure, and like, you look cool, but at the same time, he's kind of got the similar problem to Arcade. I can't think of any iconic Sauron stories, and I don't have a Savage Land display. There's no Khazar or anyone else to put with him, so he kind of sticks out like a sore dinosaur thumb, and because of that, he only goes low on the list. Multiple Man. That one figure that actually really helped me get into the mindset that I don't need to have everything. Because I realized, you know what? I'm just never going to get Multiple Man. I want to complete my X Factor set, but at the same time, Multiple Man will cost me at least $40. I'm not spending $40 on Multiple Man. Get out of here. Just close the door behind you, because that's a £20 figure tops. But of course, he's an army builder, and I get that. You know, the whole point of Multiple Man, the clue is in the name. There's multiples of him, so of course, loads of people bought multiple men, and therefore left none on the shelf for Muggins over here. So Multiple Man, yeah, he's a great member of X Factor, but he's not on my shelf, and honestly, I don't know if he ever will be. Sunfire, you gotta have a little bit of Japanese representation here, and I love the costume because it's just very comic booky, I guess. You know, occasionally people will try to make comic book costumes look a bit too sort of real worldy. That was a big thing in the early 2000s. Blade and the terrible Bryan Singer X-Men movies tried to convince the world that comic book costumes have to be made of leather and look dark and sort of covert, and bright colors are stupid for babies. And then we all grew up and realized, no, those people are wrong, and actually bright colorful costumes are awesome and can look great on screen. What was I talking about? Sunfire, who has a great costume. So I haven't read many appearances with him. I know him more from the Age of Apocalypse, where he has a way cooler look, just bursting into flames with the mask on the front like a kabuki sort of warrior. But this regular 6161, that's a lot of letters and numbers in there. He still looks super cool, and he's very sort of 90s adjacent, and most of my collection will be 90s adjacent because that's how I roll, that's what I grew up with, and that's what you're getting. Now, any long-time viewers of the show will remember the rant. Oh, yes, the Wolverine 5-pack rant. I did not take well to the announcement of that 5-pack, where it's a Wolverine 5-pack, including like a couple of figures that are tied to Wolverine and a couple of lazy repaints, and it's like, guys, you're really just trying to rip our money away from us. But one figure that I think is quite essential to an X-Men collection is Callisto. And this is one who I do actually understand some backstory with her being a leader of the Morlocks. She's a rival of Storm, and they've got a really cool backstory, so I kind of dig that. And the figure looks kind of cool as well. How many figures have eye patches? Not many. You got Nick Fury there as well. That's about the only other one I can think of, but eye patches are cool. Plus she comes with a knife. She looks like a badass. Would not, let me just make that clear, would not buy a Wolverine 5-pack to get her, but still, she does look kind of cool. Next up, we've got Sebastian Stan, and I wasn't too impressed with his look when I first saw him playing the Winter Soldier, but then when I got his chemistry with Steve Rogers, or Chris Evans, obviously, he really started to make the role. Sebastian Shaw! Yes, from the Hellfire Club, that guy. Yeah, that's that's who I meant. And yeah, you need to get the whole Hellfire set for this, which I don't own, but of course Sebastian Shaw is a big money player. He's got a lot of history, of course, the whole Dark Phoenix saga. So he is a big sort of, well, he's the Black King, isn't he? Is he the Black King? Is that the name that he's given himself? I can't remember. We got the White Queen. I assume he's the Black King. Either way, I'm not going to pony up the dough to get the box set, but at the same time, he does look really cool in plastic form. Now a figure that I only have in my collection because I lost a bet, and I kind of like that. There's some channel lore going on there. Black Tom Cassidy. I remember holding him in my hand in Forbidden Planet on sale for £5, and I was like, I'd actually be happier with the £5. But then, yes, situations occurred and I ended up having to buy a Black Tom. And now that I've got him and he's paired up with Juggernaut, okay, he does actually look okay. But at the same time, I just used okay twice in one sentence when talking about this guy. So he's just okay. Captain Britain, Brian Braddock? Braddock. It is Braddock. Yeah, had a little brain fart there. But yeah, we've got the new one coming out. That looks very nice. I'm not getting it. That's a 3-pack. It's a lot of money. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Excalibur's cool, but I never read an Excalibur comic in my life. Maybe an Onslaught tie-in, possibly Fatal Attractions. Okay, I've read a couple of Excalibur comics, but I do know enough to know that Brian Braddock, Captain Britain, it's a lot of B's, is a big-time character, and he is appearing a lot with Psylocke, or his, not Psylocke anymore, his sister Betsy in the new X-Men comics as well. The 3-pack does look really good, so I won't be getting it, but I do appreciate it looks cool, or even the older one. The older one still looks decent as well, so whichever flavour of Brian Braddock you get, you'll be doing well to have him. Let's go back, way back into time with Mojo, the Mojo Build-A-Figure. Okay, this one is not really a cheat because it's still Marvel Legends. It's very much Marvel Legends. It's just a very old one. But you know what? You can actually pick him up for not crazy prices. He's not exactly cheap, but you're not going to have to break the bank like you would for a Fin Fang Foom or something. But Mojo, he's a bit too disgusting for me. I wouldn't particularly want him on my shelf because I like gross characters, but sometimes just, it's a bit too much. Maybe it's a bit too much of like looking into the mirror of Christmas future and being like, oh my god, I need to go to the gym. Because yeah, he's a ugly, pulsating, disgusting, slug for a butt type creature, but he does look kind of cool. And of course the Mojo-verse is a whole big X-Men thing. I remember that from the cartoons as well. So whether you like him or not, Mojo definitely makes the list. Now here I'm trying to be fair because this is a character I pretty much know nothing about, and that is Dazzler. Actually, you know what? You're probably going to hear me say that quite a bit. This is a character I know nothing about. And you can go in the comments and go, why are you making videos about characters you literally know nothing about? I don't know. I gotta do something with my life. But Dazzler, I do know, is very popular. I remember lots of iconic pictures and artwork, and Dazzler is there. She's always kind of a constant in the X-Men, especially in the 80s, right? She's kind of more of a Claremont Bryan kind of run sort of character. That was before my time. But she's popular, people like her, and that's good enough for me. Polaris now. This was one I wasn't too sure where to put on the list because she is Magneto's daughter, isn't she? I know that they're always changing things around with lineage and who Magneto is the father of, and oh, that's a mutant, can't include that. Wait, we own Fox, so we can. I can't keep up. But Polaris, she's been a member of X-Factor, she's dated Havok, she's been with the Brotherhood, all this different stuff. She's got a lot of lineage going on, and she's got big green broccoli hair. What's not to like? Unpack the dominoes. I love playing dominoes, and I love the character of Domino as well, and you've got a few different ones to choose from. I used to have the old black and grey X-Force Domino, and then someone pointed out, Dave, you know that's not actually the 90s X-Force Domino, and I was like, yeah, so it is. Oh, okay. And then they announced the 90s X-Force Domino, so I was like, yes! So I sold the X-Force one, and then I waited for the new one, and then someone went, actually, you know what, Dave? It was Mark, actually. Mark said, you know, that's not actually Domino either, that's Copycat, so now you don't have a Domino. And I was like, this is why... this is why I'm getting grey hairs, Marvel Legends. But the Domino that's coming out in the X-Force, is it a 3-pack? Yeah, with Cannonball and Richter. She looks great, so I'm very, very excited to get her. Unlike the Excalibur 3-pack, I actually am getting this one. So when I get her on the shelf, then boom, that's an essential X-Force character, even though it's not Domino. We got another big bad now with Lady Deathstrike. Another new character as well from the Bring on the Bad Guys wave. This is a character, or more to the point, this is a figure that's kind of grown on me over time. I think they could have done more with her, but at the same time what we've got is decent, especially if you put the two Reavers next to her as well. You can have Skullbuster and Jimmy Jam. Don't know his name. But those two together, like flanking Lady Deathstrike, they make an awesome kind of triple threat sort of display. But even Deathstrike on her own with her great special claws and the veins and circuitry, she does look pretty badass. And let's face it, that face sculpt, it's a big step up from what we got before. Let's stick with the villains with the Silver Samurai. This is a funny one because he's mainly just like a Wolverine villain as opposed to an overall X-Men villain. Yes, I know, of course, he's interacted with other X-Men, but he's predominantly Wolverine focused. But that's fine because he's still a big character. He's a big money player. Heck, he was in the Wolverine Origins movie. No, not Origins. He was in the Wolverine movie. No one wants to claim to have been in Origins. Even if I was in it, I'd be like, nah, mate, wasn't me. You were thinking of someone else. But yeah, Silver Samurai, he's actually low-key one of my favorite Marvel Legends. You look at the armor and everything that's going on with that. Can I say it? Yes, I will. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Beautiful figure. Now we got ourselves a lady who could have gone a lot higher, or maybe a lot lower. It is the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. Because, yes, of course, she's a mutant. She's the daughter of Magneto. She was in the original Brotherhood. You couldn't have a more obvious essential character. But at the same time, I never really associate her with X-Men. It's always Avengers. I see her as an Avenger. It's not even the movies that conditioned me to that. It's because I always, when I started reading comics in the 90s, she was always in the Avengers. If it was the Family Ties, X-Men Avengers crossover, like she was an Avenger as opposed to an X-Man, and I've always put her in that category. But at the same time, you can't deny her lineage, even though Marvel literally have. Have they undone that? I don't know. But still, she has to be included in an X-Men display and collection, and hey, that Family Matters 3-pack pretty much gets you covered there. So as you can imagine, we're going to be seeing more of that later. Speaking of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Pyro, or just the Brotherhood of Mutants. Although they did say that they called themselves evil because it was like taking the mick. They're like, you know, like, oh yeah, we're evil mutants. I kind of like that spin that they put on it. But still, Pyro is bright and colourful. And sometimes that's all you need. I love that they completely recreated perfectly his cartoony, comic booky costume. The only thing they didn't do was give him decent flame effects. Luckily, Storm Collectibles had my back. I used some decent ones on him and now he looks cool. He looks like Pyro as opposed to having his little spooters that just like spoot out some fire. I'm like, really? Really, that's the best you can do? And in the comics, Pyro's died and come back, and then again, everyone has now because the X-Men just Xerox themselves, completely removing any care I have for the characters. And Pyro's another one, but at the same time, he looks cool, so I'll allow it. Havok, Alex Summers, another one who could possibly have gone higher, but I'm placing him here and I'm happy to do so because he's kind of slap bang in the middle. He's been used in a lot of stories. Hell, he led X Factor for a long time, so he's a big money player. Like I've used that phrase before, but I like it. It sounds cool. Big money player. And him with Polaris, they make a great looking pair together, leading up X Factor. So he's kind of cool. Just being a Summers brother, by virtue of that, you know he needs to make the list. But in his own right, still a really awesome character and figure. Hey, bub.
Did you just call me Blob?
Ugh, that film. Again, how have I referenced Wolverine Origins twice now? But the Blob, you know how I was saying that Mojo is not a crazy expensive old Build-A-Figure? Well, pepper your wallets, because the Blob is. He's going for about $200, give or take, if you're lucky enough to even find him for sale. And I kind of put him into the Mojo category as well, of like, gross looking figure that I don't really want to have on my shelf, because I'm like, ugh! You know, I think some monstrous characters are kind of fun because they look monstrous, whereas like just like a big obese character, you're like, that's a bit like too real worldy. It's like, I don't like that. Which is lucky for me because I don't have £200 to spend on him either. But if you do, then come on. Next to Mystique and Pyro and Magneto, the Brotherhood, yeah, definitely essential. Now, an absolute favourite character of mine, Omega Red. Such a badass figure. Badass character. Just the baddest ass. His ass is bad. And he just looks great with the white skin and the metallic stuff on his face. And of course he's got the carbonadium. That was it. The carbonadium tendrils. So cool. And I've got the original Omega Red because honestly I think that does look better than the new one in the 5-pack. I mean, it's only a mild repaint, slightly different face sculpt, but I don't like the fact that with the new one you can't really see the metal on his face so much. It's all just a very similar white kind of colour. With this one I think it stands out more. It looks a lot cooler, and because of that I love this Omega Red. We return now to the Hellfire Club with Emma Frost, the White Queen. She just looks great, and she has ingratiated herself so much into the X-Men, going from a villain to an anti-hero to still an anti-hero, really. That's what I kind of like about the character. She's still not villainous, but certainly always out for her own ends and her own means. She is manipulative and duplicitous, but fiercely intelligent, incredibly powerful. That's just a wicked character right there, and a really cool figure as well. I've always been so tempted to get the Hellfire set, but I was just like, I just can't justify it. Just can't justify it. Maybe if she was being sold on her own, I would go for it. But in the meantime, I will simply look on from afar and steal footage from YouTube to show you. Quicksilver, the game-breaking super speedster, a type of character that I hate because it's like, with that power you should be able to just murder anyone and not have a problem. Apocalypse, I am here to take over the world. Oops, you just stabbed me in the eye with a pencil, I'm dead. I hate super speedsters. Like, the fact that they don't just kill every villain in the blink of an eye just takes me out of the story. And same with Superman or anyone else or the Flash. It's like, look, just throat punch Darkseid when he turns up. He will not see you coming. But either way, I digress. Quicksilver, again, kind of an Avengers character as well, but then again, he was heavily involved with X-Factor too, so I feel that he is more X-Men-y than Wanda. Wanda kind of drifted away and did her own side projects, you know, like when a band kind of goes and does their own things. Whereas Quicksilver, he stayed more in the X-Men kind of family. So even though he does different stuff, he's still such an integral member with, you know, his stint obviously in the Brotherhood. Whether or not he's Magneto's son, I honestly can't keep up anymore, nor do I really care at this point. No, Quicksilver's cool, so you gotta have him. You know, when I was doing the Quicksilver entry, I was looking out of my peripheral vision, and you know what I was seeing in my cabinet? Nimrod. You know who I didn't include on this list? Nimrod. So, what are you gonna get now? Is it with a double entry on the same number? Because I can do it, because it's my channel. Just try and stop me. Nimrod. So yeah, he's going in the same place as Quicksilver, and I think that actually kind of works as well, because he is a big-time villain, and of course he's connected with Days of Future Past and all the things that spin out of that. So of course, I think he deserves his place on the list. I can't believe that I didn't remember him. As a figure, some people love him, some people hate him. He's very much a Marmite kind of figure. I love him because he's a bright white brick with bright pink accents. I love the big dragonfly on his back, the swirly whirly blast effects. I think that's cool. Other people are just like, it's just a brick. You can move his arms. That's about it. I'm like, no, that is true, but I like him. So he makes the list. Kitty Pryde now. This is one that I'm actually like, I kind of want. I don't have it, but I do want it. There's a lot of figures that I don't have, and I'm like, meh. No big deal, but Kitty Pryde I would actually quite like to have. Whenever I've seen her in the comics or even in the movies as well. What's his name? Elliot Page. playing her. I thought he did a great portrayal of Kitty Pryde. Thoroughly, that's one of the few things I actually enjoyed in the later X-Men movies, because X3, X3 was a tough old time. But yeah, Kitty Pryde is super cool. I like her power set, and I like the figure that they made for her with little Lockheed as well. Come on, cute little dragon. Yeah, I super dig that. So if I could finally get my grubby little mitts on her, that would be cool. Eventually, maybe one day. Now it's time for a big boy. Yep, it is the HasLab Sentinel. And okay, look, this is kind of... It's not essential, but it is. I mean, how can you not include this? But at the same time, I appreciate that not many people have this figure. Or actually, I mean, come on, when we saw how the Kickstarter did, actually a lot of people have this figure. So maybe it is fair to include it. But come on, it's a scale Sentinel. And I'm also including Bastion and the female Sentinel as well. I'm including them all together as a set. Because even Bastion on his own, I think, is a worthy member of the top 50. So I'm lumping them all in together. The Sentinel is pretty amazing, whether you have one or you don't, because it is this crazy Hablab? Because it's this crazy HasLab project. I won't edit that. It's not fair to say like, your collection is not complete without it. Don't know why I turned into Admiral Akbar there. But still, if you do have him, then he's awesome to get. But also, no one can say your collection is not complete if you don't have any figure. That's ridiculous. So, shut up. But what was I saying? Anyway, yeah, the Sentinel's really cool. Welcome to the Model Behavior Patreon Addicts Anonymous. Who would like to speak first? I used to watch other YouTubers, but after joining the Model Behavior Patreon, I just couldn't go back. Come on, Waylon. Watch Artemis Prime with me the way you used to. No. It's that horrible Model Behavior, isn't it? You leave Model Behavior out of this!
Smithers! Smithers!
The Model Behavior Patreon, sliding into your DMs since 2020. They call him Deadpool, he's hella fast, came to murk the bad guys and get some ass, got blades for days, got guns galore, got combo moves, evades them all with bear traps and hand grenades, pull a pistol like a maniac right in your face. Forget how the rest of that goes, but I do love that song. And I gotta love Deadpool. Going for the 25th anniversary Deadpool? Is that it? I forget. Or it's the 80th anniversary range, but was it the 25th anniversary of the character of Deadpool? I don't know. Either way, it's a good figure. I really like it. It's the Rob Liefeld style. It's classic Deadpool, so this is the one Deadpool I'm going to choose, and I'm very happy with him. The man who could fix anything. Man, if only I had him around when my Wi-Fi router goes out. It is Forge. And Forge, I like this figure in particular. I love the fact that he's got the... They're not like... Are they like moccasin boots? Is that the right kind of word? I don't want to sort of use the wrong word, but it's got like kind of the tassels. They look really cool with his cybernetic parts as well. And Forge, I don't know when he first appeared, but he's always associated with my 90s kind of X-Men, so therefore I'll always give him a place on the list. Now it's time to bring in Jubilee. And okay, yes, she's a bit annoying. Yes, her powers aren't very good. Yes, she's kind of useless in battle, but... No, that's about it, actually. No, that's not really fair. A lot of people like Jubilee, and I think in the comics they did ramp up her powers and abilities a bit more. She's a very well-rounded character, and I'm surprised that we haven't got a Generation X type version of Jubilee, but for me personally, I don't mind, because we've got the 90s X-Men animated cartoon version of Jubilee, and that, for me, that's my Jubilee right there. So that makes me super happy, and the figure is actually really cool. You've got two different heads. I love the bubblegum effect on one. The glasses could be, I don't know if they're supposed to be removed, but they can be removed. Actually, one of the heads I had to glue the glasses on because I kept losing them, and I was like, if I don't glue these on, I will lose them eventually, and then I will be sad. So now that the glasses are fixed firmly in place, I'm really happy to have her on the shelf. Probably the biggest hole in my X-Men collection is Mystique. And she's not even that old of a figure. That's what kills me. Because Mystique, she was on the shelves back in, I think, 2018, was it? Give or take? You could get her pretty easily. She was right there. But you know what? I wasn't collecting Legends at the time. I missed the boat, and now I'm sad. But a lot of people do have Mystique, and they are probably happy because she looks really great. Really, really cool figure. Iconic character, very important. Definitely goes high on the list. Sabretooth, Victor Creed, one of my favorite villains. So evil, so nasty, such a badass. Great Wolverine villain, but also overall X-Men villain. Yes, he's more closely associated with Weapon X and all that kind of thing, but my goodness, he has torn up the X-Men more than enough times to warrant a very, very high place on this list. This figure we've got of him is decent. I think a lot of people would like a bigger Sabretooth. I think one of these days that will come down the line, but in the meantime, this guy, especially with his rah kind of face sculpt, I think he looks really awesome. The name's Cable. I'm from the future. That's all we ever got from Cable in the animated show, and he was just like, oh, Cable, you're killing me here. You got to give me more than that. Cable and Bishop both fell into the category of time travelers from the future who think they're better than you because they're from the future. And it's like, you're stupid. You don't know what's happening. I'm here to stop it. And it's like, dude, if you just sat down and explained things, it would make life so much easier. But that notwithstanding, the Cable figure is low-key one of the best X-Men figures out there. He's a little hard to find now as well, which isn't surprising because he's got so much going on. I love the sonic energy on the eye, all the different sculpting of the pockets and the pouches. I bet the sculptors at Hasbro must hate doing 90s characters because they're like, oh, how much armor and pockets and pouches are we going to have to include? And with Cable, they actually don't scrimp out. They do the full Rob Liefeld Cable, and he looks awesome. My name is Nathaniel Essex, but you can call me Mr. Happy. No? How about Mr. Sinister? Yeah, that sounds better. Mr. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex, what a great, great figure this is. This was one of the first figures that made me want to dip my toe into collecting X-Men because I saw him there in the box and I was like, damn handsome figure right there. I love the metallic paint job on him, the cape with all the little things. I mean, what is that cape made out of? I don't know, but it looks really cool. He's got his little pixie booties, then with his thigh-high booties. I love how Sinister is just, he's his own man and does what he wants, and that's what I aspire to do as well. Really cool character, really cool looking figure. I love this guy. Psylocke, Betsy Braddock. So we've had her brother, Brian Braddock. Why am I using so many B's? There's a lot of B's in that family, aren't there? We're covered in B's. And Psylocke is one of my... Actually, no, she was. She was the last main X-Men character that I needed to finish my display. Did I pay through the nose for her? Yeah, I did, and I regret nothing. She looks great. I love the bright pink sonic weaponry and stuff, and the face sculpt looks cool. She is a really nice figure, and actually, one of the Toy Biz Psylocks is one of the most valuable legends out there. There's like a super limited edition, maybe it was never even released, I can't remember, but she's got like the Crimson Dawn mark on her. That goes for big time money. We ain't never gonna see that. But the one that we do have, actually, she does look a lot better. The old Toy Biz one was a little bit rough, just because it was expensive. Don't let that fool you. Had a mug that only a mother could love. But still, the new one looks wicked, so if you have her in your collection, then it's a good looking collection. Yeah, dos vidania, Colossus. I'm going to drop that accent. Colossus. I was like, this is probably getting quite offensive. This figure. Big, shiny, chunky, so cool. And Hasbro knew it too, so they were like, oh, we could probably resell the Juggernaut with this figure. Because how many people bought that 2-pack with the Juggernaut just to get Colossus? Yep, I'm one. At least I managed to repurpose the Juggernaut's helmet into some Hulk armor. What was I trying to say? Maestro armor. Yeah, the broken Juggernaut helmet fits perfectly on the Maestro's arm to make like a shoulder pad. I'm really digressing. Colossus. He looks great. He's got the fisted hands, the clawing hands, and just the size of this body is so great. Unfortunately, it makes us look at it and go, there are so many other characters who would benefit from being on that body. And Hasbro are like, yeah, no. The name's Bishop. I'm from the future. Yeah, you get it. Another one from the future who thinks that he's smarter than everyone else, even though he's from the future that's crappy. And you've gone back to our time, which is actually kind of nice. So who's the dumbass now? I'm sorry, I just get annoyed with the cartoons. But Bishop is a cool character in that he's had so much change with him, and he started out from the Days of Future Past type timeline. Was it actually Days of Future Past, or was it a different bad timeline? Either way, he comes back, he joins the X-Men, he's looking for the traitor, he's a staple member, then he sort of breaks bad because he's chasing after Cable, trying to kill the baby Hope. That's really interesting. I don't know what they did with him after that. I assume he's back with the good guys now, kind of repented for his slight infanticide, thing. It's like, let's forget about that. But the one that we have, the figure we have of Bishop, is another one, a bit like Cable, where they really went the extra mile to give him the look that he should have. He's big, he's a bigger kind of figure, great head sculpt with the Kentucky waterfall looking glorious on his head there. The full-on mid-90s pro wrestler haircut there. So yeah, Bishop looks great. My Name ist the amazing Nightcrawler. I think, no, that was going to be German, and then it went a little bit French at the end. I am a Nightcrawler. I've got to stop with these accents. But Nightcrawler, what a great figure. 3 heads. 3 heads. That's a lot of heads for Hasbro. They normally don't like doing more than one, so I give a lot of credit to that. Plus the fact that he's got different hands, he's got his swashbuckling sword. I really, really love this figure. And also you can put him with Blink's teleporting effect too, so he gets like a bamf kind of thing going on. Or some creative people will pose him with some cotton wool. That just makes a good smoky kind of effect. So much you can do with that character, which I have not done. But still, I could do, and that's what matters.
I am as eternal as the waves crashing against the walls of Jericho.
Or something like that. Blah, blah, blah.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse is probably the most badass villain that the X-Men have, until of course he sits on the Quiet Council and puts on a 3-piece suit and goes to meetings and like, oh, what are the modern comics doing with the X-Men? They're so bad. But old 90s Apocalypse, he was great, and he had so many awesome stories, and this Build-A-Figure is full-on Archangel, Horseman, Death, all the really cool Apocalypse stuff is kind of personified in this Build-A-Figure, which looks so wicked. Absolutely adore it, and you should too.
Hello there, you little wankers, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
I can do that voice because I'm English. That makes it okay, alright? And I won't hear anything else about it. The Juggernaut, which one do you go for though? Do you go for the Build-A-Figure or do you go for the Colossus 2-pack? It's a tough one, but at the same time, not too tough, because I will always say the Build-A-Figure. No, the Colossus 2-pack. Damn it, it's not that easy actually. But still, as a character, it's easy to put the Juggernaut very, very high. Talking about an iconic X-Men villain, you got Magneto and the Juggernaut right there. I mean, hey, in the Children of the Atom 90s beat-em-up arcade game, which I adored, Juggernaut was the sub-boss, then you got Magneto. So of course he's going to go high on the list, and he looks like a badass doing it. And those are my thoughts on the Professor X figure. One of my favorite X-Men, and an interesting kind of figure, is Archangel. I love this figure, and I also don't. First of all, the character is super cool. I love anyone who has like kind of a beautiful fall from grace, and that's Archangel totally. Up as the beautiful Archangel and then converted into the Horseman of Death. Ah, so cool. And then the road to redemption afterwards. Wicked story arc, and the figure does do him justice. There's just a couple of things I'm not too thrilled with. He's got 3 head sculpts, none of which I think are perfect, and that's kind of a shame. He's got the one with the hood over his head, which I just think that hood looks kind of derpy, kind of a little bit dorky. You know, he looks like the eraser on the end of a pencil. Then he's got the Magus sort of scary horseman. Because he's got 4 heads actually. He's got like the crazy look. Then he's got the gold horseman face mask, which is cool. And then he's got like the plain Archangel with the blonde hair. And that's the face I want to use to display him with. But the plain Archangel with the blonde hair, he looks so bored. Like there's nothing going on in those eyes. So I just rotate the heads quite a lot just to try and just like at least keep some variety. Plus the wings look amazing, but boy do they take up space. Not as bad as Sauron though, so he gets a pass in that regard. And also he goes high on the list because he is awesome. We're moving into the full-on classic X-Men roster here with Iceman and with Archangel before. Alright, don't quote me on anything I say in these videos. I just talk. That's pretty much it. But we've got Iceman, and I love the Juggernaut wave Iceman with the spiky ice, the cool ice hair. He looks wicked. And come on, he's one of the original 5 X-Men. So of course, he's got to be high up on the list. Right next to Angel makes perfect sense. You could probably swap these ones around as far as importance goes. But yeah, with the translucent kind of plastic on Iceman, I love that figure. Ah, Magneto, the classic big bad of the X-Men until he became their friends and put on a suit and went to board meetings and sat in the Quiet Council. And I feel like I've said this before. Oh god, the modern X-Men comics are terrible. But classic Magneto from the Family Matters 3-pack. I remember in a previous video I kept referring to it as the Love Triangle 3-pack. That would be weird. But yeah, you've got to have Magneto. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to put my foot down. I said earlier that like no one can tell you what's essential really. Well, no, it's exactly what I'm doing now. That is absolutely essential. You gotta have Magneto. And kind of like Archangel, he comes with different heads and neither one of them I'm particularly fond of. Actually, no, does he only? Yeah, he does. He comes with 2 heads. Both of them with the helmet on, and one is like crazy white eyes kind of look, and I'm like, nah, I don't really like that. And then the other one is just like so plain mannequin with the helmet on. He looks so derpy. So I've used a different Magneto head with his flowing white locks, which actually looks way, way cooler. But Magneto himself, yeah, I'm sorry, I said it now. You gotta have him in your collection. Ah, as Tolstoy once said, every X-Men collection requires the Beast. That's not what Tolstoy said, but if he collected Marvel Legends, I'm pretty sure he would do. The Beast is one of the more in-demand modern Marvel Legends figures. He fetches quite a decent price now because a lot of people want him. I don't know why he's rarer than others, but there you go. I'm sure we'll see another one eventually, but in the meantime, Mama Beast's bouncing blue-eyed boy. I always get those phrases mixed up because the thing is Mama Grimm's blue-eyed boy, and Hank is Mrs. McCoy's bouncing blue-furred boy. Jeez, it gets confusing for an old idiot like me. But this figure is great with all the different articulation, the long arms. The only thing that it's missing is a classic animated-looking Beast face. The face they have is a great interpretation of one kind of roaring Jim Lee look, but besides that, it's not really a great Beast head for like other sort of purposes. So if we get a new Beast with a better face sculpt, that would be perfect. Now we're getting into some serious heavy hitters with Jean Grey, the Phoenix, and which one you want to have, it's entirely up to you actually. I've got the Love Triangle 3-pack Jean because that's my Jean, that's my 90s Onslaught animated Jean, but my goodness, the green Phoenix Jean, she keeps on putting that costume on and wearing it in different times and occasions, so that could totally go with any of your collections. And hey, if you've got the Red Dark Phoenix one, then enjoy your retirement, pal, because you've pretty much won Marvel Legends, because not many people have that figure. But yeah, the 90s Jean, she's really great. Again, a staple member of the X-Men. You gotta have her in the collection.
Wind and lightning, guide my figures onto the shelf.
Oh, if I was in the X-Men, I'd be like, Storm, could you just not? Or if I was in the middle of a huge big fight with Sentinels and the Brotherhood, and they'd be like, hey, should we call Storm? I'd be like, maybe let's just try and just beat these guys ourselves before we call her.
Never fear, I have arrived.
Just like, oh gosh, Storm, could you just turn it down a little bit? But ranting notwithstanding, the Storm figure looks really cool. The Storm is a cool character. It's only the 90s animated show that has put that voice in my head and ruined Storm forever for me. I hope I've managed to do that for you too. But yeah, Storm is absolutely like an essential A-list X-Men character. The figure looks cool as well, so yeah, if you're on the shelf, should I get a Storm? I just answered it for you. Absolutely. Speaking of characters with awful voices, it's Rogue, and I'm not even going to do that Rogue voice because my goodness, It's the worst. But the figure is great. The Juggernaut Wave Rogue, that was the #1 grail figure when I first started collecting that everyone was after. And now we've got the retro one as well. And I've got to admit, I'm trying to pare down my collection and sell a few things off. And I don't know which one to keep. It's really tough. They both have pros and cons. And I'm like, sort of combined, you're like the perfect Rogue. And I don't know which one is going to be my one that actually remains on the shelf. But either one is great. And Rogue is an iconic character. One of the... I was going to say one of the more modern characters, but actually, no, she's really not. It's funny, like, anything that's not all new X-Men, anything after all new X-Men, I'm like, well, that's a brand new character. No, it's not, Dave. You're just really old. But that figure is also really good. So whichever one you get, make sure you get Rogue. And now, wherever you might have Rogue, you're gonna have her husband, Gambit. And now, I don't know if Gambit is still married to her, or if that was just a thing for a while. I'm pretty sure there was a title called Mr. and Mrs. X, which kind of implies this thing was meant to last, no? That was actually pretty... you know what? That was an alright Gambit voice. Normally I just go super French, like, oh, I am Gambit, which actually is nothing like a Cajun accent in the slightest. But anyway, this is a really great figure. Buy it. In the #2 spot, we of course have the X-Men's field leader, Cyclops. And Cyclops, I mean, come on, it's kind of a... I was about to say it was a toss-up between him and the #1 spot, but actually no, the #1 spot was of course going to have to be the #1 spot, but the big #2 is Cyclops. And yeah, from the beginning, always there, the leader of the X-Men. He's died and come back, haven't they all? But the Love Triangle 3-pack version with the jacket that he wears, which is, again, something that I took from the cartoon. He was always wearing a jacket, which is kind of funny because like no other characters were wearing jackets over their costumes. It was just Cyclops who's like, it's a little bit nippy tonight, Gene. But he does look good in that bomber jacket and the figure looks great in it as well. So there are lots of different Cyclops figures out there, but this for me, that's my quintessential one. And finally, the #1 essential character for any X-Men collection. Come on, who else could it be but the old knucklehead himself, Wolverine? And let's face it, you've got a lot of figures to choose from. Every couple of months we get a new, different version of Wolverine, often wearing a new hat. But that's fine because they're just meeting the demand to an extent, or are they? Or are they milking it? Just a little bit. You decide. But I've got to decide what Wolverine figure I'm going to put as #1. And for me, funny that I just happened to choose the one which actually fits the characters that I have on my shelf because I can't afford any other ones. It's the Family Matters. No, it's not Family Matters. Damn it! Almost managed to complete the list without making that mistake. It's the Love Triangle 3-pack Wolverine because he encompasses so many things, mainly the bone claws. Gotta love those bone claws. Then plus, of course, you've got the torn up mask as well, and you got the maskless face sculpt with the nice cowl that goes around his neck. All of those things combined make for, in my opinion, just in my opinion, the quintessential Marvel Legends Wolverine. And that is a difficult one to say because there are lots of great Wolverine figures. I love the brown costume one, the Apocalypse one, the Apocalypse Wave one is sort of shinier and more metallic. That's really cool. I love Cowboy Logan, like casual Logan. That looks awesome. So many Wolverines. There's a Wolverine for all seasons, but for my choices for the #1 place, it's gotta be the classic 90s Love Triangle 3-pack Wolverine. Great figure and great way to round out the list. And guys, that was my top 50 essential figures for any X-Men collection, and I just forgot Ilyana Rasputin. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Guys, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step further in supporting the channel, then please do by going over to patreon.com/display... Oh, wait, what's that? I've just heard reports that the Patreon is full. Actually, it's now an exclusive members club. So only current members like these guys right here can enjoy all of the amazing videos and extras and bonus content on Patreon. Now, I know that what happens when my Patreon page becomes like a full subscribers only, no new entrants allowed, exclusive A-list club is that often Patreon are a bit slow to update their systems. So some people, if you go over and join now, you might still be able to get in, but I'm trusting you. Alright, on the honor system, okay, not to go and join the Patreon. Because now it's an exclusive members-only club. And I'm sorry, but, yeah, too late. had your chance. So, you can technically go and join up and go and enjoy all those benefits, but, I know you won't, because I trust you on the honor system not to do that, and just accept that you won't be included in this amazing little montage at the end with all the good brothers who support the channel. So guys, thanks very much for watching. Gosh, I speak a lot of nonsense. And before I go, I'm going to include a data blast with one of my favorite Instagram action figure photographers. This dude is so skilled and talented, also does amazing customs. He's made them for me in the past, so I love VA Collector, does such great work. So I'm going to do a little video montage for you to enjoy, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
And hey, who would Rogue be without the Cajun Feith himself?
Note to self, think of what you're going to say before doing stupid accents.
Cup of coffee. Big time.